These meetings tend to not have a large audience unless someone from here logs in. I think the last meeting there was, as you can see, there was 0. See if somebody pops up on there other than that. All right, well, we will call the meeting of the Landbank Authority to order, and present under a roll call. So I'm here, Matt Tennell. Charles Wallace is on the phone, and Fred Failona is on the phone. Maurice Cobb, our newest member, is here, and Terry Davis is here. So Mike Enders, another new member who's just appointed, was not able to make this first meeting, and John Fabian is not here. So first, let's welcome Maurice. It's great to have you here. I know we were trying to get together and schedules were just kind of conflicting all over the place, but it's great to have you on the board. It's great that we're back up to full complement with also Mike Enders, who was not able to get here. I don't want to do your full introduction, but an incredibly prestigious resume you got there with what you've done in Steelton, and then also AFL-CIO as the secretary for AFL-CIO. So, Maurice, if there's anything else you'd like to say in introduction, but we're really happy to have you here.
Yeah. So, Maurice Cobb, I'm with the secretary treasurer for the Pennsylvania AFL-CIO. We encompass 51 different unions across the state, workers, over 700,000 workers in all 67 counties. I'm formerly from the United Steelworkers. My plant that I came out of was the steel plant that just closed. 4th generation there. Goes back to my great-grandfather. It's pretty much, I'm excited to get to work on. It's the first time I've been involved in public work like this. Most of my work has been in unions with contracts, arbitrations, negotiations, mostly legislative work. So I've dealt with the public, with public and private, a lot on that, but nothing like this redevelopment. So I'm excited to learn, and hopefully I can be of a good help.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe if it's just helpful, Maurice, we just do a quick, I'm not sure if you know everybody. I know we just met this morning. We could do a quick around the table just so you know everybody's roles, and we do have 2 guests here from Millersburg, so they're doing a presentation today, so you'll meet them. But go ahead, George.
Yeah, George Conner, Executive Director, Dalton County.
Kayla Zizzy, one of the solicitors.
Financial Coordinator for Dalton County.
Deb Lavensliger, you and I have been communicating.
Okay.
So I'm Matt Tennell. I chair this board. I'm a real estate developer, a company called Lift Development out of Middletown Borough.
Dan Robinson, Deputy Director to the Department.
Oh, wait. And you'll meet these 2 guys. Go ahead. You're on the line.
Brent Boyer, President of Millersburg Borough Council.
James White, I'm the Millersburg Borough Manager.
Terry Davis, I'm retired Director of Dauphin County Probation and Parole, and now I'm a private community corrections center called Keystone Corrections. And I've been working with criminals for 54 years. That's who I am. I'm a retired military colonel. And I got on the board about a year ago now.
Right.
And so you guys are the 2 new guys are the newest guys after me. So I was the last new guy for a long time. Congratulations.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
And then on the phone we have Fred Failona, who's out of Susquehanna Township. You know Fred?
Yeah, I know Fred.
Okay, so Fred's on the phone. He's a newer member also. I don't even know, Fred, 2 years? That sound right? A year? You're a year. You came at the same time as Terry. And then Charles Wallace, who's been on the board for many years as a business owner. Yeah, you got it. So so Charles is on the phone as well. All right. With that, any public participation? You guys have a presentation. Nobody else is here in the room. We're going to look at the minutes at our next meeting. So those will get put together and sent back out, and we'll look at the February and the March meeting at our April meeting. I don't think we need an executive session. So we'll go right into our financial review, which Information was sent out to everybody by Deb, trial balances, and the payment register. Here. My payment register is not showing anything here, but it's not. There we go. Sheet. I will say on the financial review, I think folks who have been here know I've expressed some concerns with the Oracle system and what that's producing and not producing for us in terms of financial statements. So Tim, Deb, and I met for some time. It only took one Diet Coke, but it could have been a couple, to go through what financials are being produced, what they mean, and what we could do within this Oracle system to kind of get to where, but from my perspective, where we were before the Oracle system, where we were getting sort of more corporate looking balance sheets and income statements. And so I think we had a pretty good meeting of the minds in that meeting, and we're working on it. I mean, the system, I want to say has constraints, but only constraints that have been put on it on the implementation. It's not, the system can do pretty much anything we want it to do. It just, there might be a dollar component to that, really within the county. And also it just feels like what we need needs to just kind of funnel through. And I know, George, you've already kind of started that process through with Eric Haggerty, that there's, that from some of the other authorities, there's concerns that we're not getting the financial information that we really fully need to understand the financial status of these, of the authority. This authority, and when we get the redevelopment authority, that is well. So
Quick question on that, Matt, is that because we haven't turned on or bought some modules?
Yeah, that's about, we just met with IT last week, me, Dan,
Frank, can you hear George?
Tim.
Okay.
Me, Dan, Tim, and Brooke met with IT last week trying to see if there's additional modules that we can purchase. They have a grant for $200,000 to try to get a grants management system, something a little bit more beneficial than what Oracle can do now, but they're looking into that. So yeah, I think it just wasn't set up correctly from the beginning from the IT director. They didn't know all what we did, didn't really ask us. I don't know, it's a good excuse, but I think it was additional dollars from the start that wasn't in the budget originally to add different components to it that would have the capacity for this all.
Yeah, because Oracle is really modular that way.
Yeah.
You don't tell them what you need or actually give, but really the requirements are not from the get-go, then you're running into some problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fred, I think there's a chart of account issues that was originally set up at the beginning.
Yeah, that too.
And that makes it a little harder to slice and dice certainly on some of the report level of what we're seeing. It just mixes numbers together in a way that doesn't tell us things like what are our grant balances by program, which are directed dollars for specific activities, and what I'll call our general administrative funds, which are less restrictive and really are our operating dollars. And that's what we used to get on a monthly basis. We could discern that, and right now we're not able to easily discern that. But I think Tim, particularly being the new guy in the in the financial side in this office, I think we had a good conversation on that, and as I said, kind of a meeting of the minds of what works in the department and what he needs, which is the most important to make sure bills are getting paid, but then also from a board perspective, what reports are we getting? And what does that tell us? And I think there's probably some things we can do in the interim until this gets worked out. We can't wait. We all agree we can't just wait until Oracle and the county figure out how to put the right modules in. We could start looking at these dollars and understanding our financial balances. We should all be aware that right now, historically, for the last over 5 years, certainly. This, both Land Bank and Redevelopment Authority have been funded operationally by the county through gaming grants. That's how it's happened. And whether it's 100,000, 150,000, those dollars have come in. That's what's paid for legal counsel. That's what's paid for our audits. That's what's paid for any other projects we're doing where we need to front dollars and maybe get reimbursement back. That process is in place right now for gaming. I don't know where that goes, but we do have requests in for funding. If we are not funded, we need to take a really hard look at our administrative costs and how we operate moving forward. We also provide, through both authorities, a $20,000, we provide $20,000 back to the county into the office for administrative costs. That was established a few years ago, and it's essentially a way to help to defray county costs for operating within the office. Some of those dollars are gaming dollars. Sometimes those dollars can be, we can utilize federal grants or state grants coming in that have an administrative component to it, where we can tap into some of those dollars. But I say all this in the financial stuff because it's really important. Having been on this board for well over a decade, we've had our ups and downs on our operating finances. And again, without those dollars coming out of gaming, it puts us into a different financial position that we have to be really mindful. Any questions on that? So I know I've been, harping on this for a long time. I didn't say at the beginning of the meeting, of course, a thank you to Tom Ward, who also has been a member for a long time. And I know Tom would always roll his eyes at me as I get on my soapbox on that issue. But because I can definitely tend to harp on that. But it really is important.
But when you look at other redevelopment authorities and land banks in the state, most of them have an allocation from the commissioners or whoever is the oversight of that authority. So, I mean, the gaming allocation is that. Our commissioners don't give us an allocation from their general fund budget, but most of them are funded.
Right. And those gaming allocations, which of course are approved by the commissioners, that's what. And historically, because I was on the gaming board for a number of years, I mean, that's a number of agencies within the county were funded that way to some extent of administrative costs, whether it's Parks and Rec or others. I mean, that's emergency, whatever it is, emergency service, emergency, whatever, safety. There are always dollars coming in through those areas to help to cover those costs. So, all right. That said, we do have one bill to ratify. It's a $25 check to Tucker Ahrensberger, our legal counsel.
That's a nice check. Keep those.
Yeah.
Gotta keep him coming back.
Yeah, that's. I had to
I know my word.
clear my eyes to make sure I understood. So if there are any questions on the financials or anything we just talked about, but if not, if we have a motion to ratify the checks and approve the financials.
I'll make the motion.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a second? Maurice. Thanks, Maurice. All right, motion's been made, seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries.
Pretty brave of you and your friend.
The 25, you just approved the $25 check.
It's historic for you to remember.
Yeah.
All right, new business. Let's go right to Millersburg. We can jump to that since you've been listening to my. Well, but this is demolition, so this is a special fund.
There's money.
This is not our administrative operation. So, George, if you want to introduce this, it'd be great.
So, last month, I presented the request for demo for the, I don't know what kind of structure you call it, concrete structure that's right next to the borough building. It's been there for 20 years, probably.
The beginnings of a building never.
And so the board just wanted more explanation on the back end use of the site if the demo grant is approved. So we wanted you guys to come in and kind of just tell us what your thoughts are, what the end use of the parcel will be, just so that we know it's a beneficial use of the grant dollars. So, Grant, if you want
Mind if I
to
start?
talk about it.
Jay will fill in more detail, and thanks for having us. The county, in all of its various forms that it takes on, has really been our lifeblood for most of our larger projects. You know, Millersburg's only really around 2,500 people, and it's a lower income community, and we just can't really tax enough to take care of all our needs. You know, we can only get so much blood from a stone, and unless we made the tax burden so high on our residents, most of them couldn't afford it, again, being largely lower income. So thank you for, whether you give us this or not, I just wanted to thank you for all that you've done for us in the past and all the things you do. Jay had processed a grant for this project, which I'll explain a little bit more in just a second. Previously, through you, George, I didn't believe you said that was CDBG. I just assumed the presidency. I was a council person there for the last 14, 15 years. And our president was Chris Dietz, did a very fine job, but he was just leaving at the end of this year, and some things fell through the cracks as he was stepping down and before I was appointed in the budget process and so on. There wasn't some clear direction. There was some confusion, and things got a little mishandled, and we were not responsive for that grant. They thought maybe we didn't want it, we did, and it got taken back and so on. But those things have been rectified. We think we always managed you well in the past, and we intend to do that in the future. But this project is, if any of you have been to Millersburg, right in the heart of town is what we call the square. It's really a circle. I don't know how to call it, the square, where the gazebo, the heart of our town. But behind, and Dave sent a presentation, which I guess
I should have printed things out.
we're not able to put up on the screen. But behind the square is another square, which is a giant block of abandoned concrete. And we had in town a number of years ago a gentleman who was very active in the community, an attorney. He did a lot of work with other community organizations, and he started a project where they were going to build a garage for the ambulance services. He died, and administrations changed. That was even before my time in council. He died, and this just wound up just being an abandoned project. So kind of in the heart of our town, there's a large
Concrete substructure.
yes, it's darn near the footprint of this building. And we acquired it, we bought it, and now we're asking for help to remediate it. Remediate it meaning when you look at it, it's just a giant concrete foundation. And we want to demolish it, grade it over. Now, to be honest with you, council was largely, in the past when we acquired this, in favor of, we then retain it after we remediate it and maybe turn it into parking for our downtown. Because when we have events and so on, we just have the narrow main street. There's no parking garages, lots in our town, and we could have extra parking. There's been some recently who thought maybe we should not keep it, clean it up and sell it and let it go back to private use of some form. We would put some kind of stipulation in maybe about what you would do with it. I'm personally for us keeping it, making it parking, but council would have to decide on that. But again, we can't sell it the way it is. No one, number one, would buy it, and number two, it's under a demolition order imposed by ourselves. So it has to be yes, it has to be remediated, and we're asking for some help in doing that.
This is right next to Wooden Nickel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In between the nickel and the Burrowville.
So it is, excuse me, part of a larger revitalization effort in town. If you've been to town, there's a number of large structures around the square. We have Truist Bank, which sits vacant currently, the Millersburger Hotel, which is now the Time Hotel, which is being renovated privately. In addition to that, you have this massive eyesore, safety hazard. I tried to get some pictures here. We have, there is a large chain link fence, construction fence around to keep people from going in. But you know, industrious youth can find a way in there, and it's one misstep and you're falling down about 12 feet. Nobody around to hear you. So really, it's like I said, it's an eyesore in the middle of town. We have all this other development going on. PennDOT's coming through paving 147. Our Shade Tree Commission has a rather large, two rather large projects going on with planting new trees on Market and Union Street, so 147 and Route 209. Next year, PennDOT slated to come through and pave Route 209. So we really have a chance to beautify the town square where we have all these different events. Our Cherry Blossom Festival, if you've been to that, May 2nd this year if you're interested. Big street fair, very little parking. We have to send people to satellite sites like the school or the Brubaker lot down at the riverfront. Our Holiday Magic event, which is our annual Christmas tree lighting, takes place in the square as well. So as Brent said, our funds are very limited with what we have going on. We have a grant pending right now, a gaming grant to relieve us of the debt that we use or that we incurred to purchase this lot. And there has been other talk. I know I think in our other previous grant applications that there would be public hearings to determine end use. The area businesses are very much in favor of a parking lot, whether it's paid parking or not. There have been other community members that have suggested maybe a pickleball court or a skate park, which those are great ideas. We just think they're really close to residential areas, and we're going to get a lot of complaints from things if we go that route. So the public will have input in this process. Ultimately, council will make that decision.
Phillipsburg doesn't have much debt. We don't owe very much money. I think this was like 120. And right now we owe around $200,000 to complete the main park project in town. We did a rehab of that. Other than that, I think that's really all the money we owe. We don't really have any money, but we don't really owe any money either. We try to keep that down. You know, Millersburg struggled for a long time, just like when you said you lost the steel mill. You know, we had shoe factories, clothing factories, they're all gone. When I was a kid, you know, the people from all over there came into work in Millersburg because of our factory concentration that all went away and nothing really ever came back to replace it. So we're struggling against the broader world economy hasn't been kind to Millersburg. And but we want to at least have it to be a nice place to live and hoping to attract a better future. It's a nice place to live and it's got great geography, but there's not much reason to move there other than that. Okay, so we if we're trying to encourage people to move there, businesses to come there, then we want it to at least look as nice and be as nice as within our means to do. And cleaning up these types of things and doing other projects like this, you helped us clean up other projects. You know, you helped us buy maybe I don't know if
River Tool.
Landbank.
River Tool project.
And on North Street.
Yeah, and that was a big project you helped us with, and that was really successful. That was a large factory, tool factory that had closed because of foreign competition. And so we lost those jobs and then it became an abandoned property. We acquired that partnership with you, with our water authority, demolished it. We use it for recreation and part of the lot is being developed now by our ferry boats. We're unable to get really industry back. We have some on the outskirts of town. Nothing's ever come back to the degree that it's left. But again, it's quality of life, hoping for a better day. We don't want, if somebody wants to build something, we don't want them to say, well, why do we want to come to this survey? Everything looks run down. We want it to look nice. So that's what we're shooting for all the time. But that's really.
Well, we appreciate you coming in and giving us all of that background. I mean, I'll give you a lot of credit. Over the years, I've seen that you stepped up, taking properties like Reamer Tool property to not just let something happen, but to make sure you're part of it and driving it forward. And that's definitely something to be admired, for its leadership.
We tried to do those things ethically, like that property we purchased from the owners.
Sure.
Who left us use their property for years. There's only one that we had to really take over where it was
Big safety hazard.
a recent one. And the gentleman, we worked with him the best we could, but he was just, he was no longer mentally, physically capable. And his home was literally collapsed.
So you're gonna bulldoze things and just fill the hole in?
Oh, with this property, we want to, it's almost all concrete. So we would pull out any steel, any plastic, clean it up, and then bust up it on site and bury it.
Put it in the hole.
Yeah, and then,
Just cover it.
and then cover it over, which just a covered over would look much better than what's there.
When do you think you'll determine use?
When will we determine?
Yeah, which is probably
Within the next year. So our phase one for this project was obviously to secure funds for the demolition.
Right.
Phase two was to remediate the lot, and then engage the public for end use. So I would say, if funds were awarded, the demo would take place, hopefully by the end of this year, with end use being determined by the beginning of next year.
I mean, so our standard process, which doesn't have to be how everything fits. We definitely want to be flexible. Our agreements generally are, you come forward with a demolition request, and then with a use. And then that use is attached to the contract with a time frame of you must do the demolition, but also, of course, the end use. And I know you've been through this, so but that's how that works. So with this, without a use identified, I can see the value of this and the commitment to do something, but we just have to attach that. And I'm speaking just for myself, parking lot in that area certainly would be a more productive use, if that's what the borough's determining is the highest value, great. If you want to put it on the market and have somebody else come in and develop it into something else that you think would be more valuable, that's fine as well. We'd probably be a little more, you control the property. So that would give us probably comfort, but still need to know what that use is.
Right.
If it's just going to be, bid out, and there's time frames. So if it ends up, you try to go down the path and sell it, nobody buys it for 3 years, but we paid for the demo. We've been sitting on this thing, we did the dollars and the end use hasn't happened.
Do you look then more favorably on one versus the other if we retained it versus if it was, or we just need to clarify?
You just need to clarify it. You would just need to clarify it.
And the reason I brought that up, that it was up in the air what to do with it, was to be transparent with you. I think one of the reasons George helped us in the past and guidance, because we don't come lie to you.
Yeah.
And
Right.
And what we will do is pin that down with council now. We can put that on the next agenda. And
I certainly understand the safety aspect. I did look at the pictures and right there with a fence around it. Anyone could get through those fences.
And one of the reasons it was up in the air was sometimes we find that we can, as a borough, which, we're limited in our capability, our total budget is not very high. And a lot of that goes to our police force. To maintain police in a small town is enormously expensive. And we feel that's vital, because things really go downhill after that, especially where we are, because it takes 45 minutes for another policeman to show up somewhere. Right. Sometimes we find that we can do something like this and take it on and make something happen with it. Sometimes we find it's better for someone private than to step in and do something with it. That's what happened at the Reaver property. That was a split thing where we kept half. We then sold the other half to go to an actually be a use that would benefit. So that's what was being debated here. We'll push that debate and we'll get back to you.
Matt, I have a question. If they were to keep it for the borough, okay, it's all well and good, but if they turn around and sell it, could we require them to reimburse us for what we put into this? As part of the concept that they
That's part of that.
sell.
What's typically happened is, we get 50% of the taxes. We got to be in the chain of ownership though, so we wouldn't on this one
Right.
as the land bank.
I mean, we could record.
That's sort of we could, certainly, there's nothing that says we couldn't ask for something back. We would have to evaluate if that just inhibits the property from moving forward.
But if they keep it, there's no taxes,
If they keep it, there's no taxes.
so we wouldn't get anything, but
We
if
wouldn't
they,
get anything.
We
Then
wouldn't
it's
get
just,
anything- we wouldn't get anything from anything. We don't own it.
right,
We only get 50% if we
If we
become
own it.
ownership in the title.
okay,
if
So
it
they would have to deed
stays,
it over to us.
Okay.
and then
yeah, if
we
it's a
get-
municipal parking lot, this is just a grant, it's community improvement. It's a priority, for Millersburg, and that's what we kind of live on. If it goes to private, the only benefit, since we're not in the chain of, the D chain, is, of course, the county municipality is going to receive property taxes on it that they're not receiving now.
Well, if we could just clarify with James, prior to our next, we have a business meeting in 2 weeks. If that's enough time, if we can clarify what the implications are for either direction and the conditions, then we will inform council that.
That would be great. I mean, we can. You're
but
gonna
that's
some
still not a
comment here.
guarantee that 3 years later, they use the parking lot for 3 years and someone comes along and says, we want to put a business there, they sell it,
They can do that, sure.
we would never get anything from it.
But we could put a contingency in.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
done contingencies.
All right, well, I like that.
Like chronic housing and things like that.
Right.
We've done it before here.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Does that give you enough guidance? And
Yeah,
what- okay.
absolutely.
I mean,
We always just appreciate the opportunity. You
Sure.
never come here expecting, we just appreciate that you give us a shot at it. And if I may, when you were talking about your finances, I'm sorry if I missed, I'm just curious, when you said you get the gaming application, how much is that?
Well, that's a secret, we can't tell you.
Okay.
Public information. It's been, it's ranged from, I don't know what the low has been, but the max has been 150,000.
Yeah. a little under
And then the low has been, we got under 100.
that, like 80.
We've gotten these authorities, the Landbank and Redevelopment Authority, over time have received different funds for operating, or like, when the Redevelopment Authority was, it was kind of operates, in tandem. When that entity was kind of reestablished 15 plus years ago, the first things the county commissioners at that time wanted to do was that countywide, you may remember this, it may have been during your time on council, that they wanted to do a countywide inventory of properties that were in need of redevelopment. And every municipality was asked to present properties. Dental Development was our consultant. And so that was funded specifically by the commissioners out of their general funds. More recent times, those kind of activities have shifted in more into gaming. Either what do you call them, the restricted fund or the unrestricted or whatever, or through the gaming process.
Is that then really total?
They're both
Yeah.
under that.
Yeah, we did some other funds. I mean, from time to time, we sell properties. We did a project in Steelton, and we did essentially have $100 on that. I hate to call it profit, this is not profit. We do charge an administrative fee anytime we do redevelopment, capital assistance grant project or other grant projects with, as a sponsor. But those dollars don't make up significant funds.
Thank
They're
you
not
for
a lot.
that information.
Yeah.
Helps us to know, that we aren't asking you for something unrealistic. And we always kind of rely on George to direct us of, what's the best fit for what our requests are. A lot of the progress that we've made in town with the various projects you help are really what has really helped carry us some progress in the last 10 years. So,
yeah.
So we appreciate the consideration and always are thankful for your time.
Thank you, guys.
All right, good. Yeah, looking forward to the next steps. Okay. All right, you wanna go back, you wanna continue with demolition, or you wanna go back to, why don't we do the resolution last? You hear that?
New position, thank you.
That, George, we'll just keep going down on demolition. All right, Hamilton Health, demolition fund extension.
They submitted a letter for a demo fund extension. Looks like they didn't receive, some of their state funding that was gonna be matched to our dollars that we awarded them.
Yeah.
They were requesting a year extension, on their board. They didn't, notate what state grant it was that they were receiving the award from. So I don't know what the cycle is, because I don't know what program it is. They didn't say, have an opportunity to call them
Okay,
to see what the.
yeah, and the way they're not gonna, they have not used the funds.
No.
They have not done the demolition.
No.
Okay, it's $30,000. So not on the larger side of demo grants we've done. Do you have a sense that, they go through this next cycle, that these funds are important to their application?
Yeah, I would imagine. Listen, I don't know what program it is, because they didn't speculate on the letter. So I don't know what cycle it is. I don't know if it's Keystone Communities. I don't know.
And this is the work up on 17th Street,
Yeah.
the neighboring property that do they have any other dollars into this from county?
No,
It's getting gaming awards?
it was just gaming demo. I'm sorry.
It was just the land, yeah, okay. So I know they have been in under gaming for other,
Yeah.
obviously they're pretty active with a lot of stuff.
It wasn't for this building, to my knowledge. Whatever, do you know?
I do not know.
No, I don't think so.
No, I was just the only one through about that.
All right, what's your recommendation here, George? You looking to have this extended?
Yeah, I would imagine extended for a year, and we'll see what program that they're applying to. If it doesn't seem like they're going to get the dollars, we'll capture it.
What's the pleasure? What's your, I'm fine to extend a year. We've done extensions before, but I think we do need to have like tight reins on what's the grant,
Right.
what's the deadline, and if that deadline if they do not get funded in the next one, then it's to be recaptured. I mean, we haven't gotten to that part yet, but we do have a fund balance. So I don't think we would get into using those dollars, given the demand right now. So holding those for another year is not gonna stop another project from moving forward at this point.
That's a good project
Yeah.
for the community as well. It's a bad area of Harrisburg. It's, some assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What do you think, Terry?
I'm good with it.
Okay. All right, someone want to make a motion to provide a 1-year extension?
I'll make a motion that we extend Hamilton House. What is this?
Demolition.
Yeah, demolition money for, up to 1 year.
Motion been made.
Second.
All right, and seconded by Maurice. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Steelton and Jonathan Bowser are looking to redirect.
Yeah, so if you guys remember, this project was the C1 corridor down in Stilton. It was 5.8 acres. It was old gas station, old maintenance shops, car dealerships, whatever. The land was deeded over to the Redevelopment Authority back in 2018, maybe, I can't remember. And we remediated the land. We had EPA grant funds that we did some site testing, environmental testing, got the land cleared and ready for development. We then sold the land to Jonathan Bowser, who was the developer of the project. He now has the apartment complex there, senior assisted living, Hamilton Health Center. If you remember, they were going to do an open air amphitheater right next to Hamilton Health. They were going to demolish the building that's currently there, owned by Mr. Dabrowski.
Still there.
It's still there. He would not sell the building to Mr. Bowser. He would not sell it to Hamilton Health Center. And the grant dollars that this board awarded it was scheduled to demolish that building so they could complete the entire project of the 5.8 acres. That being said, we're 5 years later. I think it was back in 19. I can't remember, but he still has not sold the building to anyone, so they can't demolish it. And Mr. Bowser is requesting to have his award from that building switched over to the high school. They came and made a presentation.
As a replacement of?
Yes.
Of
So
what?
that 50 would go.
We already, wait a second, we just approved
Right,
last
50,
month.
50. They wanted an additional 50 with this to be switched over to that project, the Stilton High School project.
I don't know how you do that. I mean, you're talking about two different entities. You're talking about a for-profit entity that is doing a project downtown.
Right.
And the Stilton School that came in and did a presentation last month where we approved 50,000. So now
Right.
coming in and essentially they're asking now for Stilton's asking for 100,000.
Correct.
Jonathan just has to return that money back to us. We capture it.
Never got
Right, but it's also comes off the books.
it. Right.
You know, you're carrying that on the books as a project.
Yeah.
And that predates our contracts we've now done, the sort of
Correct.
lockdown timeframes tighter.
Correct. We weren't doing contracts.
Right, so really, that project's been dead. It's almost like a placeholder at this point. I think we essentially should end that approval. And if Steelton wants to come back in for 50,000 more, they can come back in, but we just gave them 50,
Right.
and that's what they asked for. So now they're coming back and asking for another
Because
50.
remember, they wanted 100, but our max is 50.
Yeah,
Well,
that's my opinion, guys. I mean, I love this project. I love what they're doing there, but that's a little too much. A little too much this for me.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I just don't see that we appropriately can do that. That's not Jonathan's money. I mean, it's
It is and it isn't.
it's not his money. It's in his.
What was
I love
awarded-
Jonathan, but
it was
it's
awarded
in his.
to him.
It's in his company. It's an award
But
to
it was
his company.
awarded- But it was awarded to his.
It's award to his company. It doesn't mean he can run a grant program.
Well, he's
That's
requesting- he's
Jonathan running a
requesting
grant
us to
program.
Switch it over to another.
Oh, they came in last month and did a presentation and we awarded it and we maxed them out. So you can't get around our max number by doing
I'm
that,
taking somebody else's.
by taking somebody else's award at a different site.
This Veterans Memorial, is that the project that they requested the 50,000?
Yeah, that's football.
It's a great
That's
project. But it stretches it does kind of stretch our use of these demolition funds, which really are tied to a community development end use, which you definitely can argue this is, but it is odd. It's different, certainly, for one government entity giving this other governmental taxing body dollars for their project. So we sort of got across that issue at the last meeting. But I just see this as just maybe, for me, just a little too far. I give him props for, creativity.
No, I can.
I will give you props, George.
I give you props for creativity,
Nice
George.
try.
I'm trying to help them out.
You got it, George.
I'm trying to help them out.
Then we should have
I
awarded them
understand
100,000 at the
but I'm saying
last
the
meeting.
money's been sitting there. The guy's not going to sell a building.
But we should have awarded them 100,000 then at the last
But we
meeting and not
couldn't.
the 50 and then try to bring it in from another. It just sets a weird precedent. So anyone could get it like these guys. We give these guys an award and then they can
Well, the
turn
only
and give it to
reason,
somebody else.
the only reason I recommended it was because the money was staying in still.
I get
The high school needs it. I thought it was a good project, but you guys did too. You awarded money.
I just think at a minimum
So you
they
have
need
money
to
that's
come
sitting
in.
here on a project that didn't get done because the guy wouldn't sell the building. That's not their fault. I mean, I get it. I understand what you're saying. I'm not debating.
I just think it's outside of our process. And I just think we need to stick with it. I think it's a little too loose. They just came in and asked for this money. We did a whole discussion and awarded it.
I mean, if it was like Susquehanna, I wouldn't even recommend it.
I mean, you know,
You know what I'm saying? Because then the money's going, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it's going another, this is in the same, not even a mile away.
Well, I would think Steel would have to come back with another
That's what I was going.
project
yeah,
that they want done in that project to say, request, it's a separate project, part of a big project. But I kind of agree, you wouldn't take it from one and just go to the other and then slide it under the table, like it never happened. And is this Sean Borowski that owns the property?
No, I said Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Borowski. Oh,
yeah, this goes back. I mean, this goes back,
He was close,
right?
right?
I mean, this goes back 2 decades.
Oh, yeah, this goes back.
Trying to purchase all the properties in that development zone in downtown Steelton. And they had people that know Steelton, you know what was there. There was some good stuff, some difficult stuff in that area. And it was just property. There was a taking out attempt on that property that failed.
Eminent domain that was requested, failed.
And right, to try to take that property. And I am amazed he's held out this long, but
Yeah, I
in
don't
the
know
face
what
of getting a check, I mean, people are willing to buy that property from him.
multiple meetings with that guy.
Yeah, yeah,
We hold on for a specific amount.
yeah.
That's our version.
Yeah.
He's not here, is he?
That's right, he may have a different perspective. Hey, he owns the property, right? He has his rights. But yeah. Yeah, I would just suggest they would come back in, but even, I mean, it raises 2 issues. One, okay, Jonathan just told us that his project's dead. So I think we should rightfully just document that and send him a letter, and we're recapturing those dollars back into the fund and taking it off our pending project list. He can always come back and get those dollars request those dollars if they are able to purchase that property. And then I don't know, I mean, Steelton can come back in. I mean, the school district, they presented a project and they told us how much money, it's going to take. We told them what we could put in and they said, good.
Right.
And I know they need more money, that project can keep going and going and going, and maybe they'll be back for other things and we just sort of keep stepping through it with them.
Shot. Take your shots.
What was Miller's, I'm jumping back, because you said there's a $50,000 cap. What was Millersburg, even though they didn't give a formal request, were they asking for 50? I thought I heard them say it'll cost 120 to do all.
No, what was the request there?
It was, let me go back and look at their.
Yeah, I think it was 50. The 120 he was talking about was what they paid for.
What they paid.
Yeah. That was the
So
general.
typically, we don't give anybody over 50.
Well, we changed that. About maybe 3 years ago. We didn't have a max on the demo fund until about 3 years ago. We maxed it at 50 because we were getting so many requests, we had to cap.
Yeah.
To stretch the dollars out. That's what we maxed it at 50.
And then for the Bowser project, where we say that money's been sitting there,
Yeah.
or at Hamilton Health as well. How long, we're saying a year?
Yeah, now, see,
Now
we changed the program. We didn't have agreements when we first started the demo fund or an application process. We just had people come in, do a presentation, the board said yay or nay, whatever. As the program evolved, because it was new, we were first demo fund in the state of Pennsylvania. We started the demo fund program. So as we evolved and through the years, we did start doing agreements, we started putting stipulations, special conditions on projects. We had to start an application process. So now it's all different. I mean, it was more flexible when it first originated because we were the first one in the state and no one knew, there were really no regulations on the program. So we'll enacted an ordinance. We did a resolution, the commissioners approved it, and then we started receiving the demo funds. And we really had no program to kind of go by because there wasn't one. So we were the first ones out there trying to,
We've had to make a bunch of judgment calls as they
Yeah.
come in. I mean, we had one with, what's the name of the company? on North Front, Web.
The old jars,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
with the old chars,
right.
where it was an internal
Oh.
demo on a property that
Love
recently been
that.
renovated, and there's a blight requirement.
Yeah.
We certainly have end use requirements. The end use requirements is really where I think we get into the most kind of flexibility, almost of like, well, what's demo funds? We love to see properties getting back on the tax rolls, right? Something valuable on the tax rolls moving forward. But early on, I think we had a lot of conversation on policy of, well, that might not always be the best end use. You know, it could just be you have a single property that is just blighted and a block. And it's small, it has really difficult end uses, but the best remedy is to demo it. And maybe it's even to either put it back to municipal ownership or to the homeowners. We've run into that redevelopment authority, like with all the old Agnes properties, there are parcels here, there, slivers, or sometimes it's just, you know. So we've always tried to have some flexibility. Sometimes it is like a parking lot that could be municipally owned that becomes the best use and valuable. So, you know, there is definitely a case by case that comes through it, but we have pump brakes on dollar amounts. We were getting some huge dollar amounts coming in. And so. I don't, so unless somebody wants to make a motion, I don't know that we have to take any action on this. Do we need to take action on Kayla to send the letter of to? All right, so do we have a motion to rescind the grant application for Husky demolition project that was with what, IDP? Which IDP was the
May I
developer.
make that motion too?
Fred made a motion, I heard him say, but if there's a second,
I'll second it.
okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any
Trying to
opposed?
get you to your first motion.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Fred would jump right in.
Fred jumped in there so fast.
And again, that's just to rescind that
Yes.
old grant that's been pending out there. And, you know, the message of Chris Johnson has been a good partner is, you know, you get that, come back in.
I met Jonathan, so I think it's really good that it is close it. There's still a need. And I was looking at that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we shouldn't tie those dollars up for half a decade.
And it looks like based on what you guys, like, it's not gonna treat, the guy's not gonna send, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that, you know, who knows what happened in the future, but yeah, it's not, been sitting there for literally 2 decades like this. Demo funds, I know Deb, you told me you just got the number.
I just got the number. The revenues for the month of February was $17,655,
Okay.
which brings us to a total. Well, only $34,365.
What is it?
I'm sorry, what's that?
$34,365 for 2026.
Okay.
Is that our fund, that's our balance
No, that's not.
or available balance?
So looks like available
Should be
is,
over half.
yep, about 541,000,
Okay.
553.70.
Okay. And then we'll have, we usually get just a full report that lists every project that we've ever done, status, which most of them are closed out, any balances, and then what is the unencumbered balance in the fund. A couple of years ago, we put a kind of a $250,000 hold, and we always wanted to hold the balance of $250,000 in case that huge project came in that we needed to do significant demo. We were getting a lot of applications in, and then COVID hit. and that's definitely slowed things down. And then after COVID, we had huge fund balances because a lot of dollars were flowing in with sales of properties. So we get a piece of the fees anytime somebody records a document at the recorder of deeds. So refinances on mortgages, land development plans, you know, you name it, anything goes in there has a fee. a piece of it comes to the fund.
That's where a majority of that revenue is
Yes.
from.
Yeah, all of it.
All of it.
And it was created by the state as an option that, that counties could do, and Dauphin County opted in. So it's definitely, and it operates countywide. So the city does not have its own version of that. Like they do have their own land bank, but they don't have a separate demolition.
Forgot number one here.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. I guess I didn't want to go back to that one. This is the longest land bank meeting we've had in quite some time, which I thought was a quick agenda. Yes, it's not because of you, but it's maybe because Tom's not here. You know what I mean? So going back to number one, we had a long conversation at our last meeting on providing authorization for the staff here or the executive director to be able to manage more flexibly manage the dollars that we have sitting in our bank accounts. And really, I think it gets down to putting those dollars in financial instruments that could generate additional interest. The discussion we had, this is kind of Maurice, so that sort of gets up to speed. The discussion we had was really, okay, fine, we all want to make more dollars, instead of just putting things in checking accounts, but there are constraints. Some of the dollars have constraints, like we have certain dollars. I know, Tim, we talked about some of that, like the EPA money cannot go into an interest-bearing account. State has similar kind of rules. Certain things cannot go into an interest-bearing account, and if they do, fine, but you got to give the money back to the state.
Yeah.
So it becomes kind of why bother? And we also have obviously operating, money comes in, money goes out sometimes very quickly. So we always have to manage that we have cash available. So a resolution was circulated for this meeting, which really gives authorization to the executive director to manage accounts, open accounts, manage investments. My understanding of our meeting last time was not that we just wanted to do the resolution, but it's we need a policy, what we can and can't, what the executive director then can and can't invest in. Treasuries, maybe yes, FDIC backed accounts, yes, CDs, yes, but have essentially guidelines. It's government money, we need guidelines, speculating on natural gas prices, no, that kind of stuff. So I think we need that piece either as part of the resolution or as a companion that we approve before we move forward with this. I know John Fabian sent through a document and worked with Kayla, Deb, Tim, but I don't think it's there yet. So we have a second sort of draft pulling stuff that John put together. I would just recommend we table this until we can present both together. And that we actually have a plan. Honestly, in working through with Tim, I'm not sure we have that much money. I don't know that the dollar amount is that significant that we're losing or not fully taking advantage of. We have a lot of money. Rates have gone up, but only so much of it can be invested. Only certain ones can actually be invested into interest-bearing accounts. And a lot of it has to be ready and available, liquid to spend. So we should do it. I agree we need to do it, but I think we just need to take our time and do it and get everything in place first.
I just had a meeting with my financial advisor guy yesterday about doing stuff for my employees at work. And we were talking about what my plan is to give my key players a retirement system. So trying to work that out. And I had them come in and we sat down and we talked about how we could put this into different accounts that they could generate money off of this that were safe. I don't want anything that's speculative either. Right? I can give them a certain amount of money in this retirement thing. They can't get it till they retire, but they can generate interest off of it. And there was a lot of good, Steve Hedrick is probably will know of Steve. He's the guy that's came up with a lot of really good ideas. And I'm not talking about large sums of money either, so it might fit into the category here. I think it makes sense to put money in something that you can hold for a period of time, and you are going to hold it. Because it just sits there in the bank. The only person making money is the banks making money. That's foolish. You're not making some yourself. Other than that, and of course, as you said, if it's government money and it's not eligible, we probably need to know what that amount is. Is it 100,000? Is it 300,000 to talk about? And then if it's a substantial amount of money, like 300,000 or more, then it might be a wise move to do it. But if it's 100,000, probably not going to generate enough to make any significant bonus for us. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree, Terry. I definitely agree. So, I sort of added a whole nother element to the, we have a policy I think we probably should look at and put in place. But then also just what is even the range of, is it $500,000 sitting there that we could get 4% on and we're getting zero? Or is it $100,000 that has a high velocity, of spend that it is not as easy to invest, and is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it. But I think we do need to at least have a skip part. I think I'm looking at you and Tim. I think we can get.
As long as Tim tonight, he's gonna be the one to write that.
Okay, I think we can get this policy out pretty quickly. I think, we should tap into John Fabian's experience, send something back to him and get his thoughts. And then see if we can craft something for the next meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Is that,
Tim's got anything for me, so that should be doable.
all right.
Can we have it sent out at least a week or so early so that really have time to look at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry, and I know a lot of things run back. You've kind of raised that issue before. I never have a problem. If you're not comfortable, let's go to the next meeting. We discuss it in the meeting and then really think about it, come back with comments, especially on something like this that it's long term.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't need to have, so yeah, if you ever feel that way, I think we should definitely take our time.
And also,
It takes me longer to read stuff because I have vision issues. So. You guys can sit and read it now. I can't.
I'm sorry, Fred, you were, was that Charles or Fred had a comment?
Fred.
Fred, yep.
I'm actually thinking as an authority, right? I'm interested to know, obviously all the dollars and cents, and also what's the more or less short-term, medium-term plan? Because if we really don't need a use for the funds and they're there, sitting there, we should maximize the safest possible way, right? And probably good to have a plan for that alongside the.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. So yeah, we're just really talking about a whole cash management plan.
At least
And also, I guess that we know already what we've done over the past several years, even decades, right? Not to tax the board, but more like what's the projection? What is it that we try to do more of, or what we expect to do in the next several years? So with that kind of planning, then we can have the information to make better judgment as to, okay, this 30% of this money could be for long term anyway, so we're gonna put them in longer term investments or whatever that is, right? So at least we're able to earmark certain things because we don't need it for the next year or two.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
here's my other thought on this is that I wouldn't want it to get to the point where we put money in the bank and we're investing it, and then we all go, well, we don't want to ever touch that because we're making money off of this, and so that money becomes frozen money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want us to get to that point. That would scare me, that we're trying to keep money away from helping the community because we're making 4% or 6%.
Right, we're not an endowment.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing I think has to be made sure clear.
Yeah.
But this isn't, but just a way for us to invest a whole bunch of money and
That,
never give it to you.
that's part of the problem.
I know it is.
It makes money to invest, but you don't know what the request is.
And you don't know, yeah.
And then you gotta move money back over, checks or whatever it may be, that's the problem.
So it's gotta be in an investment that is easily changed out.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
we've never had any money.
Yeah, let's be clear on those.
those.
We've operated on a shoestring.
Yeah.
Well, the only money that we've had is the whole homes, which is the 2.8 million. But you can't gain any interest on that because it's state money.
Right.
We've never had any money in this authority.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we don't, the money passes through us. It's there, it's available, but if requests come into us, we then make the requests, the money comes through and it pays right out the door. So even if we have a large, not every government grant, they just give you, you get a $5 million grant, they don't just say, here's $5 million, go spend it. You have to demonstrate you've spent it and then you're already reimbursing.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay. Everybody good with that? I don't think we have to take any action. All right. I don't have anything else. Correspondence, board comments. All right. A motion to adjourn.
Come on, Mario.
Make a motion to
All
adjourn.
right. Is there a second?
I'll say.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right. We're adjourned. Anybody need a second? If not, we can jump into
If we
Read
could
it out.
have a second, please.
Take care, man.
Terry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Maurice, these flow right into each other.
You just don't know how much I enjoy coming.